pastor in North Carolina, Congressman Mark Harris. Congressman, here we are, same problematic states, same fraudulent states, same states that want to keep people, I think we need to point this out at every turn, don't you, Congressman, want to keep people dependent on big daddy government, because when you can subvert God himself and make government people's God, so they're dependent on government and not God, you ruin a culture, you ruin a family, you take fathers out of the home. What else?
Well, you couldn't have said it any better. It's a reality of what we deal with every day here on Capitol Hill, and trying to deal with the other side that is trying to make government God, trying to make people dependent on the government at every turn. But I'm very grateful for Secretary Rollins and the stand that she is taking and the work that she is doing. And I think it's important for the general public to remember something about the SNAP program that often gets lost. It's one of those few programs that is 100% funded by the federal government and yet administrated by the states. So the states are putting all kinds of folks on these rolls, and yet we are providing 100% of the funding from the federal government. And one of the things that they're doing is simply trying to recognize and root out the fraud, waste, and abuse that's taking place so that we can indeed preserve this program for those that are really needy in our community. And I want to tell you, they're already producing results. I mean, of the data they've already collected from those that are cooperating, they've already found 186,000 people that were deceased that were still receiving SNAP benefits. And really shocking, they found 500,000 people that are listed on the SNAP benefits roll more than once. That's a problem. And so, again, it's one of those things that we've seen this administration make a commitment to early. President Trump said we were going to do government differently. And I think the American people sent a message. That's what they wanted to happen. And so here we are coming into December, the last month of this year. And I'm very grateful that we're still staying the course of rooting out this waste, fraud, and abuse so that we can preserve these programs for those that are truly the needy in our communities.
Yeah, it reminds me of students, in school where they just provide, these states are like the students that just provide the answers to the test, and the government here is saying, hey, show your work. Let's see how you got to that answer. That's the analogy. Yeah. Let's hodgepodge a little bit and look at this Fox News headline, Congressman. The Trump administration targeting anti-Christian violence with new visa crackdown policy following Nigeria attacks. So basically, essentially, you've got the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, announcing this week that the State Department is going to deny visas, or they would be allowed to deny visas, to those who have, quote, directed, authorized, significantly supported, participated in, or carried out violations of religious freedom. That's an exact quote in Nigeria. Your thoughts on this, because this needs to get a lot more attention, obviously.
It does need to get a lot more attention, and I'm very grateful for you all doing the story, and I'm grateful for any news outlet that is really highlighting what has happened in Nigeria and these other countries that are really attacking religious freedom. Here we are at Christmas time in America celebrating, and we need to just remember to never take for granted this freedom that we have to be able to worship, to be able to celebrate, to be able to exercise our freedom of religion in this country. And so it needs to be a reminder. But listen, what's happened in Nigeria is horrible, and we've got to make sure that the spotlight is put on it, and that's exactly what President Trump is attempting to do. I mean, the Biden administration, they removed Nigeria from the list of countries of particular concern. That was a really bad move, and so President Trump has reinstated that. Secretary Rubio, as you mentioned, has announced these efforts that are being made to crack down on those that have been a part of this persecution, and it's very important for us to stand in the gap to protect these individuals in these countries and try to preserve religious freedom where we can at any point.
Congressman, speaking of putting a spotlight on travesties and tragedies, Political is out with this headline, which says Jack Smith subpoenaed for closed-door House Judiciary interview. Congressman, you, of course, sit on that committee. The deposition is set for December 17th, and Mr. Smith is supposed to provide documents by December 12th. What are you expecting to come out of all of this?
Well, I certainly hope that he's going to show up and answer that subpoena. Congressman Jim Jordan, who's the chairman of our Judiciary Committee, made that announcement that he's going to be here in 2 weeks. That was yesterday. So we're hoping on the 17th of December, we're going to be able to do a little deeper dive and check into this Operation Arctic Frost, where so many people were violated. Chairman Jordan himself was surveilled, and looking for the phone calls and all those kind of things were a real problem. And we're seeing senators and congressmen that really were being spied upon and their records seized, trying to look at every call they made, calls that came in, who they talked to. That's wrong. And listen, nobody was more a victim of lawfare than President Trump himself and what he has battled. And so I'm grateful that our Judiciary Committee and Chairman Jordan is stepping up, and we're going to hopefully get to some answers and try to find out more.
Congressman, I do hope that all of Congress realizes the level of fraud in the EBT. Number 1 and 2 items, bought chips and soda. I mean, start right there. I don't understand why they have carte blanche to just buy whatever kind of junk foods they want. It should at least, I mean, in other countries, they supplement beans and rice. You know, I don't know. Anyway, Congress, at least it's healthy, a lot healthier than chips and soda. Congressman Mark Harris, thank you so much for everything you're doing to fight against this fraud and everything else. We appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gina and Terrence and David. It's always a pleasure to be with all of you. Thank you for having me.